Evening all, welcome to some more tactics, and what you see here today is going to be a base defense map. Loving the game at the moment. I always seem to be very formulaic with these videos, so I will try and break the formula somewhat. I mean, I've got to admit, lately the games have been fun. And let me tell you my secret. This is the secret. It's not a secret. I mentioned it many times in previous videos. It's just playing with something silly in a fit that doesn't really matter against people who aren't all kind of bandwagoning Q-sinking gangs, and you'll have a bit of a laugh. I almost promise you that. I think you know, don't be afraid to leave the game if you just know that you're not going to get the kind of game you want from it. I would recommend it. I know it sounds like lunacy, but it is actually the right way to go. Anyway, so what's going on in Dust? Well, not a lot really. I think hotfix beta is being worked upon. That's going to be an interesting one to see. I think we are returning to our initial values of just having good fun with this game, and I think it's serving me well at the moment. I must admit, it is just so much fun. Running generally, I think the plasma cannon, because that's generally my kind of fit now. That's what I run, that and the flaylock, and I have to admit I am having just an absolute blast running it. You'll see, I mean, pretty much the next week's worth of videos is a continuation of the plasma cannon fun, but we actually are now using some special effects to show you how fun it is. So stay tuned for probably the next 2, 3, 4 videos. Unfortunately not this one because didn't get time, but we're going to show a little bit of kind of slow motion, rewind, all that kind of fun, and I've had a blast doing it. Just watching the explosion of a plasma round next to a Merc in slow motion is a wonderful thing. It really is. But I think, yeah, just generally everything is going quite well, I would say. I think the way to approach any game, really, that's kind of coming to, I guess, its zenith, if you like, or maybe even past its zenith, I would say, is probably just to go into it with a very open mind. And I think certainly you can see a lot of people are doing this, and it's really reassuring to see actually a lot of players are actually realizing that there is no point holding on to their ISK. There is no point, you know, holding on to their KD, because KD means nothing. And I think they're sort of now going into the comedy fit routine like we are, and it's really, really reassuring to see. It's good because it does show a real depth of character to actually just say, do you know what, I'm going to have a bit of fun. And I think that is definitely worth applause, almost. It's funny because you do still see the odd gangs just kind of running the proto fit of the months. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. If they're running PCs and other things, then all power to them. But yeah, I think just, you know, have a bit of fun. Get in an LAV, for example. Go and run some dudes over, and I tell you what, you'll have a bit of a jape doing it. The game as well, I think, is, you know, it's interesting how they're doing these hot fixes, rather, because it does feel like they're actually able to do more maybe than we realized. It's certainly tweaking. They can certainly tweak and tweak under the hood and fiddle. But I think anything more than that, like new content, I don't think they can do. I think they even mentioned they could add more guns and it would just be the same as an old gun, just reskinned, things like that. There's no point. There's really no point. I actually am quite happy to sort of sit back and say, if this is the game that Dust 514 managed to be, then so be it. And fair enough. It's a very fun game. Legion will take it further, and let Legion do all the new IP and content. Leave that to those guys. I think what Dust should do is just the perfection of a fun game, and it is a fun game. I have been playing a lot of other things lately, and I've got to admit, oh, they're not Dust. It could just be that I just found a place in my heart for the game. It could be that it really does feel a bit of a mix between Quake and Half-Life. I know that's a very, very kind of grandiose statement, but it's got the feeling of Quake 3 with the kind of weapons like the flaylock and the plasma cannon and the jumping around. That's actually quite important. And yet it's got the kind of, I guess, the gentle shooter. I can't explain that. That's all I can say. Gentle shooter of Half-Life, which is a very kind of, I don't know, refined shooter. So when you start firing combat rifles, except for example, you feel that actually there is quite a bit of, I don't know, there feels like there's lead in the air. It feels like you're shooting, and it feels relatively accurate. If that makes any sense, great. If not, sorry. I'm no wordsmith, that's for sure. But in general, I think they did make this very kind of nice amalgamation of different types of games, and I think CCP should be praised for that. I really happy they're still developing or rather tweaking the game, but I would be interested to see what really is going to happen, more so than just tweaks at this stage. I'm also liking the process a bit more as well. I know obviously it's a real shame Saberwing's gone, but already there's moves from CCP to sort that out and get things moving, and it looks like they're already on it, which is nice. I had a really good chat with CCP Frame, top bloke by the way, absolutely top bloke. And yeah, it just feels like quite a bit is happening. I think maybe they've had a fair bit of impetus to push forward, and I think anytime you release sensitive information to a community that are quite loyal, I think people naturally will be ragey, and I certainly was no different. So as it stands, no news on Legion. I don't know where if there was news on Legion, probably go to the sub forum to have a read of it. All I can say is I know that things are progressing, I believe, relatively well. What can they say? I mean, they're posting quite actively in the sub forum. It looks a busy place, which is nice. But I think, just in general, I think stuff's kind of happening. It does worry me because I was actually looking yesterday at a video from the Yogscast, which actually was showing Destiny. And I'm going to tell you now, Destiny looks rather good. In fact, it almost looks exactly what Legion's going to be. Missions, open world, loot systems. I've got to admit, it looks very similar. Now, I think, to be honest, maybe the thing that Eve has got is the world, the universe. The universe of Eve is a lot more interesting than what Destiny's putting out there. I always find that when they release a new gaming world, so it's a new world concept within a game, it's very hit and miss if it's done right. And I think while this is Bungie we're talking about, this is Halo, and so there's a very good pedigree there. I'm not too sure if the world sounds that exciting, like they're talking about the Fallen and people like that. I'm not sure. It came across a little bit kind of Star Wars, but not the good 3, the bad 3, and this is why I'm a bit worried about what actually Destiny's story is going to be, because it may not be quite great. However, Destiny is coming on a PS3. I didn't know that, so we are definitely going to play it when it's out. I suspect it will be released sometime in the year 3027, because it seems to be taking a very long time. But I gather it's what, a $500 million game already. It's cost $500 million to make. So if anything, it's going to be, I don't know, interesting to see what $500 million looks like. But I think again, we'll play it. We'll have some fun with it, and if it's good, then we'll play it. And that's a very, very reassuringly relaxed approach from myself. Hopefully you'll agree, because I'm really loving the games that do it for me at the moment. And so for example, Space Engineers is just killing it for me. It is the best game I've played in years. It's making Minecraft look crap now, and that's impressive. So for me, I think I'm quite excited over so many games. And I think again, Dust is still very good as well. I think don't worry, we're not retreating from Dust at all. We're still going to do a video a day for quite some time, but I would say it's probably a good time to log on every so often, maybe on the Fridays or on the Wednesdays or on the Sundays, and just give the game a bit of a blast. It is better than you remember it, and it's certainly more fun than you probably consider it. So give it a go, give it a blast, and see how you get on. Post in the comments, tell me what your thoughts are. If you're a long-term non-player, give it a go and post. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. I think CCP probably would like to know what your thoughts are. So be brave, muscle up, give it a go, and let us know what you think. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.